I just actually got back to Windsor. I actually have to go back. I have this little beach house that we're staying at. It's actually my daughter's mom's. She cleans these places. They're like cottages, and she had asked if we could just stay the night there because nobody had it, and we just had to clean it up. It's pretty cool. But on the way home, on the way back here right now, I had to do a few things in Windsor, so I had to head in and driving down one of the highways, and I see a truck kind of in the distance, not too far away, and there's this little black Honda 3 Mazda 3 or something trying to pass this semi. And I could tell from where I was that this thing's not going to make it around the semi without either colliding into me or something else bad happening. So I'm watching the thing, and it's coming straight for me. So I just pull right over, like, to the shoulder, and she tries to get back in her lane, or I don't know what. Smashes into the back of this truck, like a semi-truck, so into, like, the back tires. Skids out, and she's coming directly at me at this point, and I'm just like, oh my god. So I try to, like, pull up a bit to avoid where she was coming at, and eventually her car kind of came to a stop in the middle of the road, and she pulled it over. I'm guessing her front ball joint snapped, control arm snapped, everything snapped. The tire was like sideways, like on an angle, and front tire was popped, grill was gone, part of her hood was dented, and my adrenaline was going like crazy because it was coming right at me. Like, if I wouldn't have noticed, I would have probably collided head on with her. But I was just blown away at how quickly that shit happens. I know it's an accident and it happens all the time, but it was just, I'd never had somebody coming directly at me like that, so it was a little nuts. Yeah, I don't know. My heart was pumping a little bit, so I just thought I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Regardless, yeah, my last show that I did was on 4th of July. Bunch of shit's happened since then, obviously. I've noticed a lot of people are doing the riot coverage. I'm not doing that. It honestly grosses me out anymore. Like, it makes me sick to even fucking watch these videos. These people rioting and looting and whatever. And so many people do it already. It's kind of hack at this point. I mean, the original people that do it, like, I watch Nightwave Radio, part of the duo of Revenge of the Sis. It's a good show. If anybody watches it, it's awesome. Nightwave Radio, he does a lot of the coverage on those, and I honestly, it grosses me out, man. Like, it makes me sick to my stomach to watch. There's a lot of things like that right now with these culture wars things. Like, even watching the statues getting ripped down, honestly, it fucking grosses me out. It doesn't even provide me with entertainment. Even when the people get hurt doing it, it's just... But anyways, what I'm getting at is the coverage that I've been kind of trying to take is kind of like an opinion of a lot of people that are pretty neutral right now. Like, I'm kind of trying to give the perspective of, how people are feeling like that. People like my parents right now, they're noticing this cultural shift and how gross it is and how fucking blown out of proportion it is. Like, my mom's always bought Uncle Ben's rice, and she's just like, what the hell? Like, they're changing the name of this now? And I mean, there's the the major like hypocritical things, like the Lady Antebellum thing, which is fucking mind blowing. The stupidity of this, and the woke left, as fucking stupid as they always are, they're actually defending Lady Antebellum at this point. They're saying, well, they're trying to do right, and that lady didn't copyright her name properly. Like, all of a sudden they're for all these like corporate things like copyrights, and I don't understand. It's like the same thing where they're with the private business thing. They're a private company. They can do whatever they want. I thought you didn't like private company. You wanted everything to be, community-based, communist. I don't know. But it's stupid. I don't know if... I'm sure you've already heard the story because it's been covered a million times. But Lady Antebellum. Antebellum is, I guess, a term for like pre-war or something in the South. And they changed their name from Lady Antebellum to Lady A. However, there's already a Lady A who's a blues singer, black woman, and they basically took her name. Somebody says that they colonized her name, which is hilarious. But yeah, they're using this woman's name, and now they have her in court to take it from her. So, to appease blacks, you steal a black woman's name and sue her. Makes sense. Along with the... sorry, that was a little bit of a fool's puff. Inside joke from another stupid show that I watch. The protester that was killed, Summer Taylor. She was non-binary. She's a fucking chick, you can tell. Regardless. She gets killed doing the fucking Cupid shuffle on a highway, illegally blocked. Gets killed by a black dude in a Jaguar. And I shouldn't even say Jaguar because it's stupid that's even brought up. But she gets killed because he didn't see her. It was around a bend. It was dark. They were all wearing dark colors. Vehicular manslaughter now. So they ruined this black dude's life too, in the name of Black Lives Matter. Makes sense. Like, these things are all just getting so fucking backward. Like, they've always been a little backwards because of, how the leftists operate. But these two stories specifically have been covered to death, and they're just so telling of what's going on. And apparently a bunch of shows have now lost episodes because of their blackface episodes or whatever. It's just, it makes no sense to me why they draw so much attention to these things. I get they want to cancel everything, but if they just didn't mention these things, people wouldn't even know or care they existed. Like these episodes with the, where somebody does blackface or whatever. Who the fuck has watched episode 3 of Burn Notice? And that's not an actual episode. And I have no idea if they've done... Get out of here, little bug. I don't know if they've done a blackface scene, but I just mean, like, they draw attention to these obscure things, and then, then everybody wants to watch... Get out of here. Then everybody wants to watch it because it's got all this attention, and people don't want you to watch it. The same thing happened with Dave Chappelle's special, not the 846. I didn't even watch that because I know exactly what it's all about. All these comedy specials these days, they're all the exact same. It's just a fucking recap of what happened this year or however long it's been since they did another special. They're not even worth it. But all these like BuzzFeed articles and stuff saying, don't watch this, don't watch this, don't watch this. Well, you're making people want to watch it at that point. because you're saying it and you're insufferable. Insufferable. I don't know if I said unsufferable. Because you're insufferable and people hate you, the more you say not to watch something, they're going to do it. Like, it's just human nature. And they draw so much attention to everything that it actually puts things on this, like, on a pedestal. It was the same when, like, Alex Jones was kicked off. The guy's subscribers fucking skyrocketed on his channel because of that. People saying that, oh, this guy's bad, but you say everything's bad, so people think it's good. I don't know, it's, like I said, I know it's been going on forever, and all the stuff that I talk about has been going on forever. It's just the hypocrisy in the face now. It's just so blatant all the time now. And, I mean, average Americans, they're not standing for it. Average Canadians, they're not standing for it either. But there's this weird demographic, not the far left, but it's between the far left and the average, which makes up a big portion. They do fall for it. And they've mixed some of the average American in there. You see, like, if Channel 7, whatever that may be, I don't know if that's an actual, like, prominent thing in the States, but it's like Detroit Channel 7 that I have on my Facebook. Almost every comment is, like, saying some, like, Russiagate fucking Donald Trump thing. I'm like, you seem like a normal, average person, and you believe in this shit too? Really? How did this happen? How is it that easy to control people's minds? I know it kind of always has been. But it's scary how easily people are manipulated like that. Especially normal, just normal people. They seem average anyways. Maybe they're not. This little fly keeps flying around and I'm losing it. Sorry. I had the back door open when I was out there smoking, and then this stupid thing came in, and now it's driving me nuts. But, yeah, it's just like they've infiltrated such a normal audience that you would not expect. Saying things like Donald Trump is a Russian agent. Shit like that. I thought that was just a far left, like, conspiracy fucking hoax or something. It's crazy. The thing is, too, if all of this was already won by the left, they wouldn't still have to put out this propaganda. They obviously know, not everybody's on board. They're trying, but not everybody's on board. Or else they wouldn't have all this shit going on. It's just very telling, how much propaganda they push. If you look at things like CNN, CNN has always been kind of a joke. Like, even before all the fake news, title. It's always been kind of a joke. Like, back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, people would be like, oh, you're just watching that, that bullshit, that negativity porn or whatever they called it. But it's gotten to a point where, like, it's just dishonest all the time now. Say what you want about Fox News. There is, opinion pieces, but generally they report the news fairly fair. I mean, Tucker Carlson, last week I was watching an episode. He criticized the entire GOP, including Donald Trump. And, if Hillary was in office, and when Obama was in office, CNN would not run a piece where they were, slamming him. It just wouldn't happen. Or even criticizing him. It's just not how they work. The the CNN monster is real, and it's real, and it's almost like an action, a describing word now. Like, it's, the way Facebook runs is very CNN-ish. Now they're tightening their policies. I mean, I talked in my last video about how I got a 30-day ban for saying someone was fat. But, excuse me, apparently Zuckerberg was pushed about it. And they said, okay, we'll try to be better. Not good enough. And they were pushed and pushed and pushed. So now they're tightening policies even more. I don't know how they possibly can do this. Their policies are so tightened as it is. Like, what is going to happen? What is the end game? I think we know what the end game is. But for people like me and people like, like I was mentioning, Revenge of the Sith, they're pretty political. And tons of others. Pretty much all my Twitter followers and people that follow me on Twitter, or that I follow on Twitter. What's going to happen to people like us? We just don't get the internet? Is that what it is? If they had it the way they wanted it, we just wouldn't have the internet. So then what we do is we start a book club. When we sit around and read whatever, Mein Kampf, reading books, and then what? That gets shut down too by the police now? Like, is that what they want? Because that would happen. Antifa and these far-left retards would be fucking protesting and blocking your house so people couldn't get in so you can go read books together. Like, is that how far they want to take it? Like, the way China's running right now. If you even say something bad about China here in Canada or in the States and then go to China, they can put you in jail there. And it almost seems like this is how modern leftists want the U.S. and Canada. Like, they want to be able to have that power to put people in prison. I saw something the other day on Facebook about that, saying, well, just make racism illegal. And, if anybody says anything out of line, just put them in jail. That wasn't an extremist either. That was a fairly normal person. Just an average person. Maybe in that category I was talking about, between average and far left. That fact that idea even floats out of your fucking head is terrifying to most Americans and Canadians. Like, in Canada, we don't even have freedom of speech. There's so many restrictions on speech here. Like, speech isn't just going into, me going to that cottage that I'm staying at and screaming into the forest at night. It's being able to say it in a town square or on a public forum. And it just doesn't exist here. Luckily, Ontario is still somewhat normal. But out west, man, people get fucking... I'm pretty sure people have been jailed for speech. I'm almost certain of it. And if Ontario continues on the path they're going, like the way Toronto is, I'm sure that's in effect there. Windsor is still fairly decent, luckily. It's just scary to think of, man. Like, it's just... you look at the rise and falls of all these dynasties and things. Do you think any of them were... we're going to hold these people that did something 1,000 years ago accountable because they said mean words now? Like, does it make any sense? What I just said? No, it doesn't make sense to me. That's essentially what they're doing. They say that we have a natural sin of being white. Are you fucking kidding me? Say what you want. I'm good being white. I'm cool. I'm happy about it. You be happy being black. I'm happy for you. But if you think that we have natural sin, that little girl in that picture right there, my daughter, is guilty of anything because she was born some way, is fucking sickening for them to think of. And that's how they essentially think. Like, I saw that sign of the little black girl, like, another stupid propaganda piece where it was like, when do I go from being cute to being scary? First of all, the kid wasn't cute, but okay, so when does my 4-year-old go from being cute to guilty? Right? You want to play by those fucking stupid rules? She's never done anything wrong to anybody, my daughter. And I'd be a fucking moron if I ever made her feel guilty about, being born white. Are you kidding? Be proud to be white. Whites did do good for the world. We continue to do good for the world. What makes me sick is people just putting these words in other people's mouths, telling us what we are. Like the whole thing about Trump being racist, for example, he wouldn't be helping them. He wouldn't be helping minorities if he literally hated them, like they say. I wouldn't have minority friends if I hated them. That's the very definition of hating somebody because of race. That whole just because you have a black friend doesn't mean you're not racist. Yes, it does. That's exactly what it means. That is the stupidest argument ever. It's not an argument. It makes no sense. If I hated somebody based on skin color, I wouldn't associate with any of them. It makes no sense. My neighbor on this side is black. I have her daughters here all the time playing with my daughter. If I hated blacks, they wouldn't be here. It's just how it is. It's not how I feel. If I did, I would tell. I would not be afraid to tell somebody how I feel. Just irritating. And I try not to get irritated by it because there's nothing I can do. This is the way the world's going. Back to the dynasty thing, who knows where this is all headed? We don't know. If you've read 1984 or Brave New World, sure, there's, or Hunger Games. There's things you can assume, but we really don't know. I don't think anything like this has ever occurred in history. And that sucks, because, at least if we had a blueprint, we could prepare. But the thing is, I think somebody needs to take a stand and just say no to these fucking people, man. None of the politicians right now on the right, they've all shifted left. If you look at a spectrum, if you had them on there, GOP and the Democrats, if you were to look at how the party has shifted, the Democrats have fucking shot left. But the GOP is also shot left. Not at the same speed, but they're getting there. They think, the radical leftists think that the GOP, they believe in all these things. Gay marriage is legal. If the GOP was actually those things, there would be bills constantly trying to get rid of gay marriage, trying to get rid of civil rights, trying to get rid of this, trying to get rid of that. It's not there. If they were really the party of trying to do all these things, they would be attempting to do it, at least. They're not. And if you think that the voters are all of these things, why wouldn't they try to appeal to them by putting out these bills? Okay, I'm going to appeal gay marriage. Yeah, awesome, cool. That's how the GOP, voter thinks. Yes, cool. Wouldn't that entice them? It's not how it is. And, I don't know if they're just willfully ignorant on these things, but, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to decipher these things. Like, they're just they're right there. And they still just go against it. I don't know. Blows my mind. And even the fact that I was like, an Obama fan at one time, which, like I said, Obama, he was the most milquetoast president ever. Do I think he was the worst? Probably. But more so just milquetoast. He didn't do anything except start this racial divide. People that try to say it's Trump, no. Trump was a reaction from the leftists. And they think that Trump being elected brought all the, right-wing lunatics out of the woodwork. You know what might have done it? When Trayvon was smashing Zimmerman's head into the ground and he killed him in self-defense or whatever it may have been. And Obama came out and said, nope, he was in the wrong, he was bad, he could have been my kid, blah, blah, blah. I think that rubbed people a little bit the wrong way. I think they were like, hey. And then also when he was promoting Black Lives Matter, saying that, they were a good organization when they were burning down Baltimore because of a lie at the time. That might have rubbed people the wrong way too. You can keep your doctor. That might have rubbed people the wrong way. There's so many things, but the race thing specifically. And then, like I said, maybe Obama and Trump were working together to start the Civil War. I don't know. Because Obama started it. And then, when Trump was elected, that's when all the minorities, not all the minorities, why am I saying that? There's a good chunk of minorities that do support Trump. It's all the smartest people of that community. You look at Candace Owens, say what you want about her. She's an intelligent woman. I'm forgetting that one man's name, Terrence something. I apologize because he's hilarious. Officer Tatum, Amazing Lucas. These guys are all intelligent people that have good ideas, and they're willing to talk to you and debate you. They're not willing to just spray paint on something and scream at you. They will talk out their ideas, and they're very intelligent. Diamond and Silk, say what you want about them. They're intelligent too. They have arguments. They can defend their ideas. They don't just rely on calling people names. And that was the thing that Margaret Thatcher said. If you resort to attacking somebody's character in a presidential debate, you lost. And that's how they all work. They know they can't defend these stupid, ludicrous ideas, so they just attack people's character. That's just how it is. They've always done this. Obama really did start that, though, the more that I think about it. Like, the fact that he didn't condemn any of this, all this craziness. I'm so happy that Trump has actually mentioned it, at least, that BLM are terrorists. And they do terroristic things. I'm so past the whole, but the peaceful protests, fuck the peaceful protests. I'm done with those because you know what? If it wasn't for the peaceful protests, the riots and loots wouldn't have broken out. And you can say what you want about protesting, the whole suffragette movement back in the day. If it wasn't for those old white men, they wouldn't have gotten it. They wouldn't have gotten the right to vote. Whether or not they were marching down the street, it probably didn't do much, to be honest with you. And it honestly seems like a man's idea anyways, because women are so easily manipulated into voting certain ways. And then the civil rights thing, like, I feel like that was just another, like, you know, another idea from old white Democrats trying to get a bigger voter base. I'm sure the suffragette movement was Democrats too. It always seems like the subversive, shady shit is always Democrats. It just always seems to be them. Every time. Everybody with this. There was a party switch. There was a sort of party switch. The big business switch. But everything else remained the same. The ones that hated the blacks still hate the blacks. If you even look at Tipper Gore trying to censor music in the 80s, she wasn't a Republican. Maybe Republicans were a little stricter back then. She was the one trying to restrict speech then. And they've been on a mission to destroy free speech the entire time. And another guy I got in an argument with, I was like, all these liberal idiots with their trying to shut down speech. And I think he quoted, like, put it in quotations, all the liberals trying to shut down speech. What a fucking idiot. Name some liberals that are in power that aren't trying to shut down speech in some way. There's not one. Not one. All the leftists in power, they're all doing it. All of them. And it's really telling how far the Democrats have come in these 4 years. You know, we always thought we always knew that they were corrupt. We always knew they were a certain way. But how far they've come into hating everything that's American. Down to Mount Rushmore now. They're criticizing Mount Rushmore now. I mean, on top of everything else, but Mount Rushmore was a big one because, you know, when Obama was there and, you know, even when Bush was there, I'm sure they got a little bit of pushback, but I doubt that the natives were blocking Obama from getting in there. I highly doubt that. But now that Trump wants to do it, you know, or do a speech, well, he did a speech there. They block it off and they're, you know, now it's a racist monument. Fuck off with this racist shit, man. You'd think we'd be past it by now. You'd think we'd be past it, but we're just getting started. November is going to be very telling about where this country, or where that country is going to go. The U.S. Canada too, though. That's why I say we generally. I know some people are like, oh, you think you're American? No. I say we because no matter what, the U.S. always affects Canada. Sometimes in a big way, sometimes in a little way. The 2016 election affected us big time. That was the insurgence of Jordan Peterson. He started getting really big around 2016. Like Stefan Molyneux. Like those guys all got really big around 2016 because they were coming out with the ideas of, you know, right-wing populism, which, you know, wasn't that big before that. You can say it was, but it really wasn't. But, yeah, it was, 2016 was huge. And that was, like, the start of these culture war things. Not the start, but I gotta be very specific when I talk. 'Cause people try to tear you apart when you misspeak. But the big culture war thing where now a lot of young people are involved on the right side, and I mean right as in correct and right wing, where that wasn't really the case before. There was some young people for Bush, but not many, man. Trump was cool when he came out. He was fucking a little bit edgy, It was fun. Now he's kind of middle of the road, and let's hope, this election happens and he just starts kicking ass, man. Let's hope. Because 2024, man, is terrifying. Who's going to be there? Probably not many people, man. There's guesses of who will run, but it doesn't look good, man. Trump has this appeal because he was a celebrity and he has all this different clout. That's why he was so easily elected. But now, man, Don Jr., doubtful. He's not going to get the support Trump did. Whether or not we want him to or we don't want him to, he won't have it. Ivanka maybe would have quite a bit of support, but liberal women don't like her. Probably because she's gorgeous, and they're just not. It's always really ugly women that hate Trump, honestly. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like Trump, but when you look at all these, that vocally hate Trump. Because when you look at all these posts on Twitter and whatever, it's always the grossest people, man. The guys too. I mean, liberal guys are not very good to look at either. Regardless, I'm going to get going in a second. There was just one more thing that I wanted to bring. Get out of here, Fly. There was one more thing I did want to bring up. Last episode, I touched on Cadillac Ron and battle rap a little bit. Like I said, it was pretty cool. Something gross happened yesterday. I was watching, or I was on Instagram, and get out of here, Fly. There was the champion of the main battle league, which is actually King of the Dot. It's a Canadian league that spread into the U.S. He's the champion of this league. And he started talking about this battle that happened in England. England's got a pretty big scene, too. They're not bad. They were talking about this scene, or this battle, and apparently a white guy was battling a black guy. The white guy dropped a George Floyd bar. He won the battle, but after the battle, it was brought to the attention of these league owners, and they disqualified him and kicked him out. And I thought he was going to say, this is bullshit, we can't be censoring this and that. But instead, what he said was, I can't tell this guy not to be offended, which is fine. People have the right to be offended. That's fine. But you don't have the right to stifle speech. And sure, there's certain things that you don't want to bring up. But the whole point of battle rap is shock value. And whether or not it's shifted from there, you should be able to say what the fuck you want, man. And he was, this guy, these battle rappers say that they're so, thick-skinned and this and that. Until you talk about their daughter or their kid. You do the worst shit possible. You're a junkie. Not Real Deal, by the way. The champion. I'm not talking about him right now because he's actually a really good dad. Get out of here, fly. But they talk like they're like the best parents in the world. And if you bring up their kid during a battle, they freak out. We know you're not a good parent. You talk about gangbanging and you're 40 years old with kids and you act like, your kid's the world to you. Meanwhile, you constantly have, posts like, oh, I miss you. I can't believe I haven't seen you in 6 months. And you act like you're that close. Fuck off with that shit. And then dead relatives and things like that. Which I get. There's lines to be crossed. But George Floyd? A guy that wasn't a good person, first off. They act like he was a great person. He wasn't. Whether or not he deserved to die, I get he didn't. But he wasn't a good guy. And you didn't know him personally. And you're getting offended by a bar about him? One line about him? Get fucking real, man. And then, so he was like happy that he got disqualified. Like I said, what I was getting at, he got super sensitive about, Kobe dying and somebody making a joke about it. You're so thick-skinned, but a basketball player dies and you can't handle the joke about it. And it wasn't like, oh, I got mad because I have a daughter and he had a daughter that died. No, you got mad because somebody made fun of Kobe dying. I loved Kobe too, man. I had 3 jerseys of his. I watched him every game I could. I constantly wanted to play like him. But you're going to get mad at somebody for making a joke? No, I'm not that sensitive. I don't care. I don't know the guy. Yeah, he was a good basketball player. Awesome. And to the point where you get mad at somebody and, go against all of your principles. You say that you're... And, just one more quick thing. This guy made fun of somebody's dad with cancer dying. Or almost dying. But you're worried about a guy you didn't know that wasn't a good guy. But you make fun of somebody's dad with cancer. Hypocritical left, at it again. And he may not be a lefty, but he leans left pretty hard. And I really liked him. I still love his battles. Him as a person, he's not real, man. You're a fake. You're a fake person. It's just fake shit. And all battle rappers are like that, except Cadillac Ron. I mean, there might be a few more real ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but Cadillac was one guy. Make fun of my kids. Make fun of my parents. Do what you want. I'm going to do the same thing to you. We're going to shake hands after. Like it was a fight. And we tried to kill each other. But yeah, so that was just something kind of funny I brought up. Or I wanted to bring up because I saw it yesterday. Anyways, I've been pretty active on Twitter lately. I wasn't ever active on Twitter until like last week. So if you watch the video, please add me on Twitter at Mike Ondich. Instagram, Ondich24. I don't use that much. But please like and sub and share the video on my YouTube, please. Normax Media. Appreciate it, and hope everybody has a great Friday and have an awesome weekend. Peace.